maybe the most important film about climate change since An Inconvenient Truth. We saw Sharknado, so you know what that means.
Now it's time for How Did This Get Made? We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater. Cause you know you wonder, how did this get made? Let's wallow in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to a very special episode of How Did This Get Made? We are breaking our running order because there was an attack. A Sharknado attack hit Twitter, hit the internet, hit the SyFy channel. We needed to regroup and talk about it. I am joined, as always, by Jason Mantzoukas. How are you, Jason?
What is happening? This movie is amazing.
And June Diane. How are you, June Diane Raphael?
I'm good. How are you, Paul?
Good. I was very nervous about this interaction. People, we have this weird thing. I have to... there you go.
Now you're going to have to speak to it.
Yes. Well, people say that we introduce each other weirdly.
For a married couple.
For a married couple. But it's like, you're not with us 90% of the time. If you didn't know that, then that's a fine
And there's
introduction.
like no other time you'd be introducing me like that. I don't know how I'm
how
supposed
are
to
you,
react.
June? Yeah.
I will say
Bye,
this, because a
Paul.
lot of people don't know this part of it, is that
What's that?
when you guys are speaking a little bit remotely to each other in those moments, you guys are fondling each other's genitals.
Oh, for sure.
So there
Always.
is intimacy there.
It's always a physical intimacy. Joining us is a return guest, star creator of Comedy Bang Bang, which is currently in its second season on the IFC channel. You can see it every Friday night at 10 p.m. and 9 Central. Please welcome Scott Aukerman.
Hello, people of Earth. That's my catchphrase.
Yeah,
Thank you
wait
so
a
much.
second. That's not your catchphrase.
Oh, that's right. It's What's Up, Hot Dog. Hello, everyone.
Well, I'm so excited that we could convene a very special How Did This Get Made?
Like calls went out last night.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Calls went out.
Which, by the way,
Yes.
we were supposed to do a different movie. Can we
Yes.
talk about that?
We were
and I
supposed
watched
to do
a
Alex Cross.
shitty movie.
So sorry,
all by my
Scott.
lonesome, apparently.
We were supposed to watch the
Wait,
Tyler Perry detective film Alex Cross, and we weren't supposed to air this when it was supposed to be aired, but
Was it terrible?
It's more boring than anything else.
Would it not
I
have
would-
been fun?
I would do the last Tyler Perry
Temptation.
movie. Yeah, I would do
I'm
that
dying
one.
to see
that one?
it. I'm dying to see
What is
it.
it called?
Temptation, where
Yeah.
the twist is.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
talk.
okay,
Yeah.
well,
do that one instead.
Okay.
In my
Okay.
opinion.
That was just in the theaters with Kim Kardashian and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, you get MVP because you watched
Most valuable
Alex Cross.
player? Thank you so much.
get most valuable podcaster. Because you watched two movies, but last night
I'm going to
Sharknado
slip
was
in
on.
jokes about Alex Cross during this whole show.
I think it's
by
a
the
nice
way.
Easter egg. Last night, Sharknado hit SyFy channel. The Twitter sphere went nuts for it. You can find millions of GIFs,
Yeah.
memes.
I saw stuff because this happened to me, which I was very bummed about. For some reason, my DVR rather only recorded 40 minutes of it.
Oh no!
What?
The last 40 minutes. Thank God.
that's all right.
Well, thank
So
God.
then I went online
Okay,
so
good.
that I could watch the beginning.
Okay. And
It
Paul,
is-
you called the Audible after it was already on.
In the East
East
Coast.
Coast.
Which I get the East Coast.
Okay.
So I had to then do the West Coast feed, which was on an hour later, and so I had to stay up a really long time.
We had to stay up for
poor
no, I'm so
baby.
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm tired.
Again, MVP, most
Thank-
valuable
Because
podcaster.
I know you were doing a morning show this
I did
morning.
Kevin and Bean this
so that's
morning at 6
something
Please
in the
stop
morning.
plugging
So-
other radio.
Guys,
Don't
Where can
listen
we-
to Kevin and Bean.
Don't
can
plug
we hear-
terrestrial radio.
Where can we hear your appearance on Kevin and Bean?
Well, it's podcast itself at
wow.
KROQ.com.
All right, let's talk about this movie because I want to just lay down something first and foremost. A lot of people go, well, no, they were setting out to make a bad movie, and I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Only because this went to Cannes. This was sold at Cannes.
Oh,
This
not
film.
Not in competition.
Not
It was
not
not-
the Cannes Film Festival,
at the
the
Cannes-
Cannes Market.
Yes, at the Cannes Market.
The marketplace there.
You know, you go there, you buy your Sharknados, you
Yeah.
buy your Helen Hunt movies.
Yeah.
You pick
The
up-
Bling Ring.
But I do believe, that
Helen Hunt movies.
your Helen Hunt movies.
You know, fucking Cannes rotten with Helen Hunt movies.
I guess I'll buy this Helen Hunt movie.
Okay, great. I'll buy that Helen Hunt movie and Sharknado.
Look, I'll get Sharknado only if the dad from Home Alone is in it. And I can pretend like it's actually Kevin McAllister's dad just later on in life.
Oh, maybe Ian Ziering is Kevin McAllister all grown up.
Holy shit!
Change his name to Finn. All right, this movie. I want to talk about the.
I want to put quotes around movie.
Yeah, because here's my thought. Like when people go, well, they were trying to have fun with it. I don't think so because they didn't do anything far enough to go. It felt more to me like Birdemic and The Room than something that was incredibly self-aware. There are moments that were crazy.
Yeah. I think, yeah, maybe, but it's not as earnest as those movies. There is a degree of camp to it. Just like this stuff happens that are so funny.
Yes.
I think the humor in the movie. They thought it was going to be
Super
intentionally funny,
Yes.
but it is laughably funny.
Oh, okay.
That's
See what
exactly-
I'm saying?
that's exactly
there are
what I
certain
mean.
jokes
Saying.
in there that they're like, oh man, this is going to be
Yes.
comic relief that it just
Yeah,
they lay there.
Well, and then to speak to this whole premise is that the opening scene of this movie, which correlates to nothing.
Nothing.
Zero.
I want to know, like, was anyone paying attention? Does it make sense to you?
It makes
Here's what was so funny about that scene. The businessman is having a meeting on this boat. I mean, it looks like they're in the middle. They're off of the Gulf of Mexico. They're in the middle of
Yes.
nowhere. And it's like played as like a business meeting, like he just stopped by.
Yeah.
He's in a suit.
He's in a suit in the galley of a ship.
Did he take a rowboat
It's
into the ship?
industrial.
Yeah.
Like, where did he come from?
And the boat is like a fishing trawler.
Yeah.
It feels. It does not.
This
It's
is
not
an
like a
industrial
grand, eloquent
cargo. No,
boat
this
or
is
anything.
not
It's
a
like
yacht.
it's like Deadliest Catch level boat.
Yes, he didn't like land a chopper on
Nope.
it or anything like
No,
that.
thered be no way.
First of all, I
He
want to
must
have
have
a
been
lot
on this boat for days.
in
yes.
that suit.
And then in that suit with a briefcase,
Waiting
or whatever,
for this meeting.
waiting for me
In the waiting room.
He's like the ship
with
captain.
a cup of coffee.
The ship
Can I get you anything?
the ship captain is the most passive aggressive businessman. It's like, well, he'll take a meeting with you, but you have to go out to sea for about 2 to 3 weeks.
It's a lot like
and
meeting with
see.
Lorne
That's what I was
Michaels.
gonna say. He's the Lorne Michaels of boat captains.
Was the guy he was having the meeting with, you guys noticed he was completely dubbed the entire
Yes.
time.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yes,
that.
I did notice
I was
that.
barely paying
I
attention.
actually have to say I had a lot of trouble with the sound in this movie.
Oh,
I
really?
couldn't hear. Well, okay, so obviously
Sound and the
people
lighting
were
of this movie
ADR,
were-
but people
yeah.
were ADR. But could you hear dialogue? Like the levels seemed so
well,
low.
The business, the noise of the event
the
was
Sharknado.
of Sharknado were so loud, like the chomping and the
And the chomping was like,
Yarn, yarn, yarn.
but then the actual words were so low.
so low. I agree. Yes.
Thank you. 'Cause
well, this
Paul kept
movie
on
clearly
saying it
was not color corrected,
No.
sound mixed,
Nope.
or
No.
anything. It
The
was
color
like,
correction is bonkers. I
Oh.
mean, it's like it's raining in some angles,
Yep.
and then it cuts to the other angle. It's
a
beautiful
sunny day.
sunny, sunny
It's
day.
great. No effort made.
I do believe that majority of this movie was shot in a car wash. Whenever they're in a scene, and it's just a white
like,
world, and then you can't
Hey,
see
Ian
anything.
Ziering, do you want to hang out at this car wash for one day?
We rented this car wash. We need to get through 40 pages of dialogue. Let's do it.
I believe his name is Ian Ziering.
Oh, so sorry. Is it? Oh, that's right. It is.
It is.
Can we just mention though that
Yes.
who this movie is written by?
Please
Who?
do.
Thunder Levin. Thunder Levin, whose piece of IMDb trivia, the only piece
Yes,
of trivia
it is.
about him is
Thunder is his real name.
Thunder is his real name.
Thunder
Wow.
convenient.
Levin.
Yes.
Well, he directed a movie called Mutant Vampire Zombies from the Hood. He wrote a movie called Atlantic Rim, which I guess is
That's
kind of eating off
genius.
Pacific Rim.
Okay. So when I was at K-Rock, which
Yes.
you
Hey,
can
man,
hear-
cut it out.
Jesus.
They had a whole bunch of DVDs made by this same company that I
Yes.
guess the director was there the day before.
Asylum is this company. They make a movie like Transmorphers, right?
Yeah, what they do is they make these DVDs and put them in stores so that you will get confused and think that you are buying Transformers, but what you were really buying is Transmorphers.
And I read another thing about this
Wow.
is it's specifically geared towards the DVR audience because you'll be like, oh, I want to see Transformers, and you get a TRAN, and you say, like, oh,
must
Transmorphers
be
pops
it.
up, and you just order it. And so even if you mistakenly order it,
That's amazing.
they make
Still order
money.
it.
Sure.
That's
They
very
also-
smart.
yeah.
I tip my hat to that.
That's
by the way,
Asylum.
thank you so much for wearing your hat today.
Oh, I always
really?
wear it.
By the
just
way,
in
that's
case I
another
could
thing
tip it.
people don't know about the podcast. June always wears like what
Like
the
a
kind of
10-gallon hat.
or sometimes it's those hats that people wear to British weddings, like very
Yeah.
ornate
Of course,
hats.
yeah.
It's
I
not
do-
comfortable.
I
but
do want to talk about some of the Asylum movies. There's American Warships, which came out last summer.
Battleships.
Battleship.
Yeah.
And they also released AE Apocalypse Earth, which is, I think, AI.
Yeah.
Or like...
What is that? Yeah.
okay.
No,
I
it's
thought
it's After Earth.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
Oblivion,
Or Oblivion.
Oblivion,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
And
yeah.
that also stars Richard Grieco.
Oh, that's
and
Greek.
awesome.
Atlantic Rim, which is coming out, of course.
Pacific Rim, yeah.
And then,
That's so
and they also
good.
directed something that seems like it's supposed to be a Fast and the Furious thing called 200 Miles an Hour.
Ooh, that's
Oh my
pretty
God.
fast. You
Yeah.
have to agree about that. I mean,
An amateur racer gets involved in illegal street racing after the death of his brother.
did you say in legal street racing?
Oh, illegal. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That would be
That's not a very good
Yeah.
movie.
street racing is legal.
In a world where street racing is legal, everything
They
else
just
exactly
wanted
the
to
same.
drive the speed limit.
So the opening of this movie on the boat with this meeting, I did love this fact that when they are, I don't even first of all understand what this meeting was about. They were
I
killing
thought-
sharks, right?
I thought what it
He
was
wanted-
they were on a boat that had a whole bunch of they'd captured a whole bunch of
20,000,
sharks.
a pod of 20,000 sharks.
Wait,
And then,
all the sharks were just on that boat?
That's
no,
what I thought it was supposed
I thought
to
he
be.
had them like where he was. I don't think they were on the boat.
That's what I thought.
There
I
were
thought they
some on the
captured
boat,
all.
though.
What I thought they were doing was they captured all the sharks.
Yes.
Which then a tornado happens, and because that boat happens to be where it is, the sharks get lifted up
That's
into the tornado.
interesting.
That's
Yes.
what I thought it
That's
was.
what
Now,
happened.
I don't think that's what it is, though.
But
Oh,
now,
wait,
why
what?
was that guy when the first time you see him, he drank like an egg? Like was he eating like a shark drink or something? Because
No, I
he
think-
passed like a bowl to him.
I don't know.
And he
I didn't notice that.
And he drank it and he goes, "It's good, not great." And then he's like, "I'm going to only give you like $100,000."
Oh, were the sharks for food?
I don't
For
know if,
shark fin soup, maybe?
that's
Or
something like that. That's what I
can't-
thought. Like it was some sort
Because
of
it was
delicacy.
also
Interesting.
all different kinds of sharks.
Yeah.
It was
Hammerhead,
It was as if
tiger sharks.
all the sharks in the world were at a meeting together in one part of
They
the
were
ocean.
waiting in that waiting room.
That's why this tornado was really confusing, because you could argue that if the tornado happened there, it would be that one type of shark that's
Right.
indigenous to that
Right.
body
But
of
it was
water.
all the
But it
types of
was
sharks.
all sharks.
Well, you could also argue
All the
that when
time.
sharks are sucked out of the water via a tornado, they're not breathing. They can't breathe anymore, and they would
These
be dead.
sharks live for days in a tornado without water.
But
These-
hold on.
Wait, what
Isn't
is-
a
and they're-
tornado made of sort of water? Like, doesn't it have
No.
precipitation?
Not
And-
that much water. It's not like they're not like
They-
in a fish
They
tank of
get
water.
oxygen from
What-
water.
Yeah, from
Look-
what I know of tornadoes, they're wind essentially.
Yes.
That's picked.
And what do you know of
Oh, I'm
tornadoes?
about to tell
June
you.
was an amateur storm chaser. Go ahead, tell him.
From
the
what I know-
character, Helen Hunt was based on June.
From what I know about tornadoes.
And I'm not saying I know a lot or enough, but from what I know of tornadoes, wind starts to sort of pick up dirt and debris, and it kind of collapses
You know
in a,
nothing about tornadoes.
No, no,
and
no.
it forms
No, keep-
like
let her
a
go.
cyclone
Yeah.
that starts
Oh,
to move.
Oh, okay.
Wait, a tornado is like
On
a
its
cyclone?
I
own.
wish
Well, a
everybody
tornado is
had a
a
visual
cyclone in the
of
air.
what's happening.
I will
A lot
say
of
this.
hand movement.
June,
Here's
June
what
is
would've
kind
made
of right.
sense.
June is kind of. Oh, go ahead. Well,
It would have made sense if the
June is-
sharks got wrapped up in a cyclone, because a cyclone's a tornado in
June, you're
water.
getting ahead of
From what
yourself.
I know of
Oh.
cyclones.
all right. Well, a
But
tornado.
Sharklone doesn't sound quite as good.
Shark clone
sound
would have
good.
been. It's
Okay,
Long
well,
shark.
June, you're kind of wrong and kind of right. A tornado is a violently rotating column
What
of
about
air
a lone shark
Air.
clone?
that is in contact with both the surface of the Earth and, in rare cases, the base of a cumulus cloud. They're often referred to as cyclones.
I thought a cyclone happened in water.
It says a cyclone is a low pressure circulation. I mean, I'm just telling you what they say.
But I
This
mean,
is
like, I
Wikipedia.
would argue just from what's happened just here. I know you're reading off the internet, but whatever. But it sounds like June knows more.
I think that June should
and I'm
get on
saying
this.
I don't know everything, but I may know more than
All I know is during
The
the movie,
internet.
someone said, "This is impossible," and Ian Ziering said, "No, it's not. This is very possible." And from that moment, I was on board.
Well, here's another thing that I will say about this movie, and and that's the thing about the laziness. Like, at least in Birdemic, there's like a 2-minute scene where some guy clunkily explains, well, the birds are revolting because of this. It's bad science. But in this, there is no
see,
explanation besides
here's-
simply that
Yes,
line.
and here's the other weird thing about the sharks. When the sharks hit land out of the tornado, I would think they'd immediately want to find water.
No, they would have.
Like,
they
they
would
would be
flop
flapping
around,
around,
dying because
dying
they're drowning in
immediately.
air, which
Right,
is what
'cause
happens
they
when you put a
can't-
fish. Instead,
Any human being
they are
would get sucked
chomping
up.
their fucking mouths because they're hungry. Apparently, they fly repeatedly. Sharks fly out of the air and lock onto someone's limbs. They are. It's like they're flying through the air, going chompa 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 until they just hit something
something.
And by
fleshy.
the way, the land shark in the old Saturday Night Live sketches with Chevy Chase look more realistic than the sharks
For
in this
sure.
movie. These sharks look like they're catapulted like Raggedy Ann dolls. It's like through a window, and when they come
Oh my god!
through-
When the shark blows through the window of the restaurant, I was laughing so hard.
the effects are bad.
the effects
The
are
The
effects
effects
Great.
are
Computers-
next level bad.
How to discriminate. How to
I want to just go back to the boat scene for just 1 second, because now the fact that there were 20,000 sharks there, I'm piecing it together. But I love that when the Asian man hands over the money to the Lorne Michaels boat captain, it's in a tackle box. But yet there's some tackle in there still.
Yeah.
Like
What?
there are like lures.
I didn't notice that.
There are lures in the tackle box. Like it's like, well,
Hey, when in Rome.
I just thought that was so like.
And the captain was like,
He might
"We're
be able to
gonna
use these.
cut your sketch."
Hey, he'll put a little something on top for him.
And it was so like Jay was placed, because it wasn't like, oh, they put money on top of the lures. It was like they put the money and it's like, it doesn't look right. Let's put some lures in there too.
Well, why
Maybe it
does
was
he
camouflage?
Maybe he just borrowed the tackle box, so it would be being used. Okay, that makes sense. So we'll put some lures in there.
And then all of a sudden, the wind picks up. They
They just start shooting at each other for no reason.
Well, that's the other thing. Why are they shooting?
There was never any motivation for that. Just all of a sudden, like a Sharknado star. Which, by the way, when I first saw this title, I thought it was Sharknado for a long time. I was like trying to figure out what is Sharknado. Why is everyone talking about Sharknado? But yeah, he runs out, starts immediately firing at this guy for no reason.
No reason at all. And then that's a losing battle to run around the boat shooting a gun. Like there's no escape. Like he was trying to be like, I'm out of here. But it's like, well, you're on a boat in the middle of the Mexican waters.
The Lonely Island special.
So anyway, that scene goes away, and we are to never think of it again.
Never.
Because it makes
But it basically
no
establishes for us that there's a lot of sharks in this location, and a tornado comes by and sucks them all up into itself.
In
right?
which, yes, we
I
meet
guess
our...
so,
That's the establishment of Sharknado. But then the question is, there are 3 Sharknados.
Yeah, because here's the
That's
other
true.
There are
thing.
3.
I don't think that the beginning thing necessarily relates to the rest of the movie, because they then have someone talking on TV. Which, by the way, what is her name?
Johnny
It's Johnny
with
with an
an I.
I. She
with an
keeps
I.
mentioning that.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Johnny with an I.
Because I think was it Johnny Blaze was her name? Was that
maybe.
right? Or-
Find
That was
out.
such a weird specific that I liked, but
I think it was no, but okay. Is that
Did you feel
based?
bad when she got killed?
Is
I
that
did. But like, I felt like there were some.
is it
moments
based on
in the
Johnny
movie-
Mountain, and then they cast a woman, and so she felt like she had to
Who's
say
Johnny Mountain?
the weatherman here in,
I don't know.
on ABC. Anyway, that's like a local reference, but I feel like they wrote it in the script like a Johnny Mountain, like Johnny Blaze.
But it was
Oh,
odd that it
interesting.
was an odd thing, because if you were a fan of this newscast, which you probably are if you're watching it,
You
wouldn't
know
need her.
it's-
Yeah, you wouldn't need her to introduce herself with an I every time, like, unless
But I
there's
think
2
that was,
Johnnies
like,
at
her
this
I think
thing.
that was
I
her
think that was her
catchphrase
thing.
or whatever.
But anyway,
okay.
back to the point. She starts talking about how there have been, and Ian Ziering, I think, starts talking about how there have been a lot of sharks
Attacks.
collecting in the ocean recently. So it's not like these sharks are being shipped in by the Sharknado.
You are
The sharks
right.
are already there. So what does
Really?
that beginning have
Here's
to do
what I
with
Okay,
anything?
so wait a second. So in the beginning, when
right,
Ian Ziering
Zach.
is surfing and there's like 1 million sharks in the water, is that just random, or
They
did a
talk about
Sharknado
how-
drop them off?
No, I think sharks have been there, and then the Sharknado comes and lifts more sharks up. I don't know.
Why are there so many sharks
There's a lot of sharks. That opening scene.
in the when he's surfing with the girl?
Oh yeah. Oh well.
When he's surfing with the woman and he can't surf at all, it's like Gidget style surfing,
It is.
like shot from below, like
Just-
while he wiggles his arms, and he's
So
supposed to be
upsetting.
like a world champion surfer.
Well, he's taking a little bit of a break with his. I thought for the beginning, I kept on saying to June, because the sound mix was so bad. I was like, does Ian Ziering have an accent? I thought he was also trying to do an
I
Australian
couldn't tell if the
accent.
guy was Australian for a long time until that line of dialogue about etiquette. I thought you were Australian, not British. Great line.
I also like when that girl's getting eaten in the water, and Ian says to her, "Get out of the water!"
Yeah.
But they're in the middle of the ocean. There's nowhere to go.
He's standing in like water up to his chest.
Yeah.
There are 12 million sharks apparently.
Sure.
And he's screaming, "Sharks! Sharks! Get out of the water!" And he's just watching as chaos ensues.
Yeah, he
like
doesn't go
chaos.
any-
And
he doesn't
does
go
not-
anywhere.
He doesn't get on his surfboard. He doesn't get out of the water. He is like just a sitting duck.
And I would also argue at that point, maybe the reason why he's a sitting duck is because the sharks are kind of this like lazy chompers. Like they kind of eat you, but they're not like "Rawr." They're just kind of like hump. Like
Yeah.
that was eating that guy's leg. The Australian guy, that Australian guy had that shark on his leg.
Oh my God.
For quite some
Yeah.
time.
They-
Yeah.
I feel like they had maybe 35 minutes of stuff, so they put in a lot.
Yeah.
of time. One of the things, there was stuff that I was like, wait a second, is this scene like happening in real time? Like there was, what was it? Hold on, there was one thing. Oh, let me find it.
Well, time is a crazy thing in this movie because we're supposed to understand that this shark attack, this massive shark attack at the beach happened, I guess, that morning, and then
where the people are
to-
they're reacting in such a way where they're just really running in circles. I felt like that 20 extra.
But I would say it looks like in that first opening scene,
Yes.
it looks like at least 7 people died.
I know.
Right.
Oh no,
Like
no! At
7
least
or 8
it
people
was a
died.
giant shark attack
Right.
at Santa Monica
But then
Pier.
once we're at Finn's and the
By the way,
Australian
his
guy-
name is Finn, by the way.
His name
We
is
haven't
Finn.
talked about that.
Oh man, the names
Oh,
of the movie are
Finn.
amazing.
Yeah.
Finn, Cam, Nova, great
Right.
names all across
But
the
this
board.
massive shark attack
Written
has
by
happened, and
Which is his real name.
the next scene they're at the bar, and I think to myself, well, I guess we must be weeks later.
Yeah.
Because
Weeks later.
the whole beach would be shut down.
Shut down.
Absolutely
Everything.
shut down.
His
Everything.
best buddy, the Australian, had his leg in a shark's mouth, and he's just at the bar.
He's
just
just
at the
Everybody's
bar.
hanging out like.
The energy
This
there
should
is-
be like they went to the hospital. And I know how long it takes to take someone to the emergency room because I just took someone.
Ooh.
and it
Oh,
take-
what happened? Is everything okay?
It was Paul Rust sliced his hand open at my house. This was like a month ago.
Oh, okay, wow.
boy.
But the most blood I've ever seen.
Is his
Anyway.
hand okay?
Yeah, it's great. But I took him to the emergency room, and it was hours before anyone even looked at him.
Scott,
Right.
did you stab him?
He sliced it open himself, I swear.
Hey, Scott, can Paul Rust play the piano?
Did he ever before?
Were you mad at him? Were you mad at him, Scott?
So this would be he would have come back to the bar at night at the very least. So it should have been
no,
Well,
it's
even that
basically-
aside, though, people have died.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of
And they're
people.
I would say
whipping.
8 people died. That
People
day.
have died, and the people that we are with at the Peach Pit or wherever they are,
Fins.
the people that we're with,
Fins After Dark.
Yeah.
watched people die, watched
front of
people get
them.
eaten by sharks,
And
right?
no one is reacting.
And they don't seem traumatized,
No.
shocked.
They're
like
whipping it
They're
up.
laughing
Music
and
is on.
goofing and.
Oh my God! Do you know there was one
It's
thing?
like any night at Finn's.
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
not even
well,
a night.
that's a
It's-
testament to Fins, though. You have
That's
to agree.
true.
Yeah, Fins is the place to hang out on the Santa Monica boardwalk.
Well, not anymore.
Murder
Not
scene.
anymore. Oh my God!
Oh,
one of my
not
favorite moments too is I felt like there was a lot of investors in this movie, like people who invested in this movie was like, oh, and you have a part too, and your daughter will have a part. Like
Yeah,
when that
yeah.
first shark attack is happening, they cut to a little girl like in a
Yeah,
red
yeah,
dress,
yeah.
like with her hand to her head and just like
Yeah.
looking out like 4 times.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's my daughter. I gave you $100,000 to make.
No,
this
there's a
estimate."
lot of that in this movie.
Yeah,
there's
there's a lot
people
of-
who should not be acting at all,
Yes.
and not the people, the main stars of the movie.
No.
Oh no, and I think there's a lot of scenes in this movie that might have been like just like stock footage.
Yeah, no, there's
Like
a lot.
real,
when they're
real
driving,
stock footage
when they're
stuff.
driving
Yeah.
through LA, that is going through the tsunami, because that's really what it is. They're like showing pictures of Sharknami. They're showing like pictures of Haiti. It feels like
Yeah.
that's not like Santa Monica.
Plus, they're cutting in a lot of like Discovery Channel footage of sharks.
Yes.
Anytime there actually
yeah.
is footage of sharks, it's obviously bought. They never
Yes.
had a real shark.
They never.
They bought one giant shark fin.
yes. Oh, and they had that shark fin cam, which was going
Yeah.
behind the shark.
Yeah, I guess just to wrap up this question, I do think that the shark attacks on the beach are unrelated to the
the
Sharknado.
Sharknado.
Yeah, I don't.
No.
Yeah, I think
No.
they are.
I
No,
think it logically that does make sense
I
because
don't think they have.
Wait, are you
anything to
just
do
saying
with
that like
Sharknado.
every day? All right, so
Because the
every day-
Sharknado didn't truck in these sharks. It's not like a Sharknado happened and boom, deposited these sharks in the water and then they attacked. I think
Especially
they're
because
unrelated.
of the time cut. Because he comes back with a bandage, so
no.
it's hours later.
Yeah.
No.
when the
I
Sharknado
think what
hits.
happened. This is what I think happened. Again, I'm not a scientist. I know a lot of you are writing in and asking me science questions, but here's what I think happened. The tornado picked up like say 15
20,000
No,
is
I'm
what
gonna say
the- oh.
I'm gonna say 15,000 sharks. Okay.
Okay.
And then
That's a little less than 20.
okay, and then 5,000 were just displaced and pushed into the
They
shores.
were like the John the Baptist of the
I see.
sharks.
So
were
they
the shark heralds.
arrived
Yes.
before.
They arrived
They're the
before.
warning sign.
So the other ones were being sucked up into the tornado. The other ones were being pushed to
Okay.
shore.
Interesting.
Because that was a shitload of sharks.
it was.
It was too many.
it was
many.
way too
Yes.
many sharks.
And
But
it wasn't
the
like
reason
we,
why it's unclear is
'Cause you
because
wouldn't-
Ian Ziering says that they've been having
They've been
shark
having
attacks.
shark attacks. I swear they said that.
They've
at
been
some
having
point.
shark
Well, he's being
attacks,
very
but-
blasé about it. He's like, everybody just stay out of the water for a couple of days. It's totally fine.
Well, I mean, poor man's Kaylee Kuko.
Who?
poor man's Kaylee Kuko. That's
Who, the bartender?
the bartender.
Nova?
Yeah,
Nova.
I liked her.
The
I
female
thought she was
perspective.
good. I thought she was good.
She did a good
I
job.
thought she was one of the best actors.
No.
She was probably one of the
She
best.
was.
Can I mention Tara Reid? And,
Yes.
and Kulop brought this up because she was watching with me. The first time you see Tara
This is
Reid,
what I
which,
was talking about.
by
Yes,
the
this is
way,
amazing.
the act break on this movie, if you watch it on TV, it fades out. Like, basically, Ian Ziering sees a giant tidal wave approaching, kind of looks at it strangely, picks up the phone, fade out.
Yes.
Like, slow fade out, then we go to commercial. Like, that's not a place for a fade out. If you're amateur act breakers out there.
Tidal wave? I got to make a call.
Fade out. But when he
this is
calls
my
Tara
favorite thing.
Reid
Yes.
on the phone, she is standing on a staircase, and behind her is her headshot.
A Tara Reid headshot.
A Tara Reid headshot framed on the wall.
And it comes back later on when her boyfriend
yeah.
is
Yes.
getting eaten by a shark and there's water in the house. During that sequence, there's another Tara Reid portrait that's in like a curio cabinet or something that you
Yes.
see in the background.
It's like Tara.
And then there's also a single portrait of him that floats around. It's
Yes.
the strangest
You guys,
thing.
we're going to hire you for this movie. We need you to bring a couple of
Bring some
headshots.
headshots, please.
I thought I got the
But-
movie.
If you've got him framed, that's
That's
even
helpful.
better. And Tara Reid is
Bring
like,
them either way.
Tara Reid is like, oh, I've got a bunch of framed headshots.
By the way, Tara Reid, I don't like her character in this. She's a pretty awful person. She doesn't, we'll get
The
to...
love story in this is so strange because in the beginning,
by the way, yeah, go ahead.
you thought that
It was supposed to be Ian Ziering with the Nova.
Yeah,
Well,
she
even
makes a
before
pass at
that,
him.
but before
She makes a
that, I
pass at
thought
him.
he
Oh,
was
it's the
making a
surfer.
pass at the surfer.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
he's totally into the surfer.
Yeah.
He's after the surfer girl. He watches
At
her get
first.
eaten. Nova makes a pass at him, and he's like, "Get back to work. What are you doing?
He's
I'm
like,
your boss."
because- I'm your boss.
that ball is up in the air for a long
long
time
time.
about
And then-
Nova liking him.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he kind of gets back into her. He's like,
Seems
that's
like
sexy when you shoot that gun.
Yeah.
You know? So
And
like
then-
their love story is, and then he saves. I mean, not to spoiler alert, but he saves her at the end, which is what the hero of a movie does.
Except that it's basically like she's meant for his son now.
Yeah, it's
Well, she was
weird.
into her son. I mean, she was like, you know what? I'm not going to get it with Finn. Finn's still caught
guess.
up on his beautiful wife, his beautiful
But I thought
April.
this was going to be about like when he sets up in the beginning of the movie on that phone call that this woman, he doesn't have his family anymore. He doesn't have anything, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think that the whole story is going to be about him getting back with his wife and kids and
Yes.
proving that he's the man of the family and not this
But
boyfriend.
why was he a bad man of the family?
That's the
They
thing.
they don't
He's
even
a
show
good
it.
I don't know
man
what he
that they
did.
don't like.
Exactly.
They established that when Tara Reid says your problem is always that you're trying to save everyone else.
Yeah.
and so
Right.
that
What's
goes
the
against
problem with that?
That goes against your idea of what the movie should be, which is he saves everyone
Right.
else.
He needs to be
and
the
proves
fuck up.
Right.
Hey,
No,
Scott?
he needs to be
Hey,
the
Scott?
what?
We didn't make this movie.
You motherfucker!
But don't you think? But don't you think?
We didn't do this.
Well, that's
Don't you think
really,
he should have been the drunk? He should have been
Yes.
the John Hurd character
Yes, exactly.
who then came back.
Yeah.
Or he abandoned them for surfing, or he
Yes.
whatever it was.
Or he's the Clint
Right.
Eastwood in Unforgiven, who's been a really good guy, but then when sharks come,
Or he's the guy who's afraid of fucking sharks.
yes,
And
No,
he
that's-
and he doesn't
that's
like to
Nova.
talk about it.
That's Nova in her Robert Shaw monologue.
Oh, which we have a very special treat today because June, you're gonna do the
I'd like
monologue.
to give it, I'd like to give it a try.
I love
I'm
that.
not
do you
in
need-
my full voice.
Do you need to
know
warm
that.
up your instrument? What's going
a little
on?
bit?
Enough qualifications. We'll just see how you do.
I do want to I want to talk about one thing that it's not really worth, I don't know, but not only this tornado works in such a way that things are destroyed and like collapse as if they're all rigged with bombs. But a Ferris wheel at one point is unleashed from the Santa Monica Pier and it goes just rolling. And it's one of my favorite death by giant Ferris wheel ever. Just one guy gets crushed by a Ferris wheel. I thought that was. I almost feel like I would like to see a movie with just a runaway Ferris wheel.
That was actually that was a
Runaway
very
Ferris
exciting
wheel NATO. That would be
sequence.
amazing.
Oh my god. It's a Ferris
Oh my
wheel
God.
with
Here's-
sharks.
all the
Sharks in
Ferris
all
wheels
the, in all the
have been sucked
Here's the
up.
other weird thing we find out on that phone call because Nova seems to know a lot about like his family situation.
No, she keeps.
No, she doesn't know anything.
She doesn't know
about it.
anything
I'm
because
sorry,
there's a
but
line of
she says
dialogue I
something-
wrote down, which
Okay.
is you have an ex-wife and a daughter.
And a daughter.
Yeah.
So, but somebody says, and maybe it's Tara Reid, somebody says, yeah, you'll see the kids when you see them every month on the 20th.
Yes.
One day.
And then-
That's a raw deal.
Actually,
That's a bad
What
divorce.
has he done?
I wanna-
What has he
On the
done to
20th
get this
of
kind of treatment?
I wanna
Which,
play
by
the-
the way, maybe is inconvenient for him or something. Like, what if it's a Sunday
It's not like
on
every
Sundays?
other Saturday. It's
Oh,
like,
you know,
on the 20th, wherever
tomorrow
that may
is
fall.
the 20th.
It also-
It's a Tuesday, no school, I guess, to go see my dad.
It also seems like the 20th is the day that he needs to give them money. Here's a scene from when he comes inside the house. It'll just give you an idea of where the acting is and what the dynamics are. Here we go.
Claudia!
She doesn't want to talk to you.
Claudia!
Dad, what are you doing here?
There's a big storm coming in. It's not safe here.
I'm not going anywhere with you. Just leave.
I didn't come here to
I
argue
don't
with you. I
care.
came here to get you.
What is all the ruckus?
Oh my God.
Can you describe the ruckus?
Oh, Shepherd. Should have figured it was you.
Shepherd.
This guy's.
He's a shepherd, by the way, because he led them all out.
Going inland. I'm taking my family with me.
Finley, April is mine.
Excuse me?
My girlfriend is not your responsibility. And unless it's the 20th of the month, which it currently is not, neither is Claudia.
Con, don't be rude.
What is happening?
He's just worried about us.
He's just.
Every time it rains in LA, everyone swears it's the storm of the century. And even if it is, Beverly Hills Emergency Services are second to
Even
none.
if it is, Beverly Hills Emergency Services are second to none. What kind of lackadaisical attitude is that?
She just said sharks are falling in the streets.
Right. That is an
Like-
amazing scene.
Sharks are falling in the streets, and he is nonplussed.
By the way, Tara Reid just saw Nova with a double-barrel shotgun shoot a shark that came flying out of a sewer grate.
Yeah.
And by the way, they never established how Nova is such a good shot.
She's amazing.
She's knocking down these sharks like she's a
hates
premier.
sharks.
She hates
And
sharks.
she knew that
hates
she would have to
sharks.
shoot some someday.
One day she's gonna have to shoot some land sharks.
Guys, Nova's story arc is so amazing. When I mean, we'll get there, but when she and the son are in the helicopter, shit goes down that is so bananas. I was like jumping out of my seat. When can we talk about it, or what are we doing?
Yes,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, sure.
Okay, so
Just
so-
set up where we were at in the movie.
So in the movie, he and his family have run away. They've gone to the airport, like a
Flight school.
tiny flight school airport kind of like
Yeah.
zone
In Van Nuys.
in Van
Van
Nuys.
Nuys. Next to an old age home.
Yes,
Because
next
why?
to an old age home.
Because old people can't hear.
Yeah.
Which was, that's not like
Oh, yeah.
Scott being clever. That is a line in the movie.
Although I have to say, and
Which
I
I
want to
don't
hear
think
the
was
rest
a
of
joke
this,
line.
but I think that I didn't even register that as really a joke or a plot point because it seemed like there was a lot of discrepancies. Like some people were aware of what was going on and terrified. Like at the flight school, they're hiding in a closet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then other people are just
lounging in
going
a
about
pool.
their
Yes.
Yes.
The old age people are
Like, how is that possible that people are in the pool? Doesn't everybody know? Like, people just got sucked out of a building next door.
Can I just say that maybe this movie helped me understand Katrina and why so many people were left behind?
Yeah.
Like why?
Where was FEMA? Where was FEMA in this movie?
It
Where
would
was the
happen too
Where was
quickly.
the government in this movie?
Well,
What was
the
happening?
only time you see the government is when they're being like they're weaving in and out of traffic, and the cops, I guess, chase them for speeding.
This actually did happen though. Like there were sharks in New Orleans, like in the
Swimming,
streets,
yes.
swimming
What?
in the streets.
What?
After yes, June.
Well, because there was water. Because there was water.
Please take a picture
yeah.
of June's face at this
No.
one moment. That was an amazing.
Did you not know that sharks were attacking
I
people
am
in New
very
Orleans?
upset about that.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like the Thunder saw that and was like, "I got a better idea."
Oh, yeah.
Come raining out of the sky.
But you could never get the idea of how much water was in
Well,
the street.
at the beach, a guy who's ankle deep in water
Yeah.
is eaten by a shark.
Yeah, and the cars are not engulfed in water; they're probably up to the mid-level on the tire.
Yeah.
And there are like multiple sharks underneath. Like, how does a shark even fit underneath the car?
No way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alone on top.
maybe if
it's
burst
a-
through the top of
Maybe
the
if
car.
it's a small, like, tiger shark or something. I mean,
Maybe,
come on,
yeah.
guys. A sand shark, maybe?
As Nova said, I like Nova's line about the tornado. She goes, "It's like Old Faithful."
But then someone says we're going to need faith to get out of this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so Jason
Old Faithful-
Gone.
She had
Jason-
so many good lines. She had the movie is basically 80-yard lines over B-roll. That's what the entire
And
movie
over
is at a
extreme
certain point.
close-ups because
Yes.
they can't film anything else.
Because they can't film anywhere else.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't have the helicopter right now. We don't have the location, so we're
I
just
was
going to
told,
film
by
an
the way-
incredible close up from below.
I was told that they chased rain around. They would hear like
really?
it's raining in Pasadena. Let's
Oh.
move.
Wow.
And they would go find it, and
That's
then they would
amazing.
film there. Yeah.
Okay,
why
so-
go to all that trouble?
Yeah.
It did not.
No,
it was
yeah.
not additive.
Because
in the
clearly,
least.
no, not at all.
So the flight school, they're hiding in the thing. The family is reunited. Somebody gets sucked out of the building. Holy shit, shit's going crazy. Okay, so. They decide they break into a store next door where, great news, there's bomb making supplies. So very quickly, they all build bombs.
Oh, by the way, and one of them is
Multiple
given,
people know how to build bombs.
and one of them
And
is
how to
given,
fire them off.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. One of them is given. Tara Reid, I think, takes a hedge trimmer.
No, yes,
As a weapon.
Ian Ziering gives her a hedge trimmer.
And goes, can you use this? She goes, yeah, I can use it.
He goes, do you know how to use this? She goes, I can use it.
She's mumbling throughout the. By the way, she's sitting down most of the movie too. When she's being
by the way,
attacked,
not with everyone else.
No.
Like, I feel like half of her part was shot in her house.
yeah, she's sitting down during attacks, going, "Oh no, no!"
Well, did you guys notice one of my favorite scenes is when Tara Reid they stop at a convenience store and they're kind of looking around at what's left, and Tara Reid just has this kind of like pensive moment or a reflective moment when she goes and just approaches a bunch of like toiletries and just stares at them, like, and they're all turned like they're all
These
like,
wipe my butt.
Yeah, she's just like, so I'm gonna stare at these antiperspirants for just a couple minutes.
Stuff goes on for so long. Anyway, so they get in the Sun and Nova get into the helicopter.
Oh, can I play his
love
line?
that.
Can we just play his line to set up what they're gonna do?
Please do.
Here is his line.
Instead of letting live sharks rain down on people, we're going to get in that chopper and throw bombs into the tornadoes.
And that is the plan.
That's the
good
plan that everybody is on board for.
Oh, yeah, we definitely
Nobody
do
says,
that.
let's get out of here. Nobody says, you got a helicopter? Great, let's all get on it and we can leave.
Or what if these bombs hit buildings?
Yeah, or people
by
below.
the way, forget about helicopters. They're out of flight school. Like, let's get on the planes
Great.
and just fly out
And get out of here. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Right.
Nope. So him and Nova get in the fucking helicopter, which never moves. He barely ever moves his hand. It's the worst.
Helicopter's a bad vehicle to take in the middle of a Sharknado, too.
So he then flies as close as possible to
Well,
the
it was a test
Sharknado.
helicopter, so it's probably.
Oh, okay, yeah, new technology.
Okay, so he flies as close as possible to the Sharknado, and they start. Now, June, do you want to do your performance? Because this is where this scene happens.
I'd love to if it's time.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely
so they don't know each other.
Is this
Him-
Ian Ziering's real son, by the way? I think I read that.
Oh, that would be
really?
amazing.
I'm gonna take a
I
look
think
right
it
now.
is.
So they don't know each other. They're just getting to know each other, and
wish we had some
she's
music
basically
on
like,
for this.
they're comparing scars right beforehand. They're comparing scars. She has a scarred up leg.
She doesn't want to talk about that.
And we've
scarred up leg.
seen that earlier.
Yeah, and he's got a scarred up chest or something from something, and he tells her his story of how he got a scar, and then she says this.
I was raised by my. Okay, she's got like an East Coast accent.
You're
right?
gonna do the accent.
Okay.
Too.
I'm gonna try, babe.
I love it.
Do you need to warm up time? Do you want me to talk to you in
No,
a Boston
I'm good.
accent?
No, it was like more like New York. I was raised by my grandparents. When I was 7, my grandpa took me fishing on one of those day charter deals with his friends.
That was a good one.
We wound up hitting into a reef and the boat went down. My grandfather took me and put me inside this little life raft for safety. Everyone else was just kind of swimming around trying to stay up, and suddenly all these sharks just started swarming. And then they tried to protect me, but by morning
This is good. Stay with it. Stay with it.
by morning they were all gone. So
Meaning the people, not the sharks.
I was confused about that. This is the craziest line. So I floated out there for 2 days until those Coast Guard helicopters finally spotted me. I thought I was safe, but suddenly this shark just leapt up and bit my leg. 6 people went into the water and 1 little girl came out. The sharks took the rest. They took my grandfather. That's why I really hate sharks.
Now, a more seasoned writer maybe wouldn't need to put that button on it.
That's why I really hate sharks.
That's why I really hate sharks.
Yeah.
Guys, she was floating around in the water for 2 days.
Yeah, a little girl. Amazing.
old
And now
was
she
she?
works on the ocean.
On the
7.
ocean, directly in
was-
the proximity of sharks.
Yeah.
She was 7 years old and floating outside in the ocean for 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to see that movie.
Me
And
too.
this is basically Robert Shaw's monologue about the
Yes.
USS Mississippi or whatever.
Because
it
I
is
think
at
they
this time.
directly quote
So many people went in and the
so
sharks
many-
took the rest.
yeah,
is
yeah.
is a
There's
line
a lot
for
of
line.
Jaws references.
Oh yeah, we're gonna need a bigger helicopter.
And they
we're gonna need a
kill
bigger helicopter.
early in the movie. They kill one shark exactly the way that
Yes.
they killed Bruce
Yep.
in Jaws by putting a tank in its mouth
And
then
shooting it.
shooting
And
it.
that was
Yeah.
early on in this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, they really did that quick.
So they're
Almost
in
as
the
if
thing.
like, hey, Jaws, that's not good enough. We're going to do
Yeah.
that first thing, and then you're going to
we're gonna get that out of the way, and
yeah.
then you'll see some really good shark kills. Yeah, she says you're gonna need it. We're gonna need a bigger helicopter, which is a Jaws quote. Oh crap! Look at all those sharks, she says at one point while they're flying close to it. And when they fly close to the Sharknado, it's just teeming with live sharks chomping around. Like, what the fuck is going on? Then they start throwing bombs into the things, and there's 3 tornadoes. And the first one works, the second one works, the third one it doesn't work, and a shark latches itself onto the helicopter, and she takes a knife and starts stabbing it. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna." What did she say? I think I wrote it down. Like, she's basically like they're flying. By the way, they're super close to the tornado, which always was freaking me out. I hope this. Anyways, this is so stupid. Okay. She's stabbing the thing and killing it, and then loses her footing, falls out of the helicopter and into a shark's mouth.
Just
Yeah.
perfectly.
Just like thump,
right in
like
it.
totally,
Which was surprising to us.
totally perfect. Like fell out of a helicopter into the belly of a
It was like
shark.
a beautiful NBA shot. I was
Yeah,
like,
nothing but
all
net.
Nothing but net.
It
Nothing
was
but
super. We
Jaws.
were watching and we were like, "She's dead. She can't be. This is
That's
the."
what I said.
I lost my mind at that point
Yeah.
when she fell out and just fell for like 5 feet and then like totally perfectly into a shark. Because that's what I was obsessed with watching it. Is like the same thing happens to the Australian guy. He's just sitting on his car and a shark falls onto him, mouth first, just like chomp onto his leg.
I don't think that these sharks want to eat humans. I think that they're almost like their mouth is open because they're
Just
like,
happens
oh,
to
fuck,
be
I'm
open.
in a
Yeah,
tornado.
yeah.
And then they just land on
Maybe,
them.
the red shirt kid who's just running and the shark falls on him and it just bites his arm off.
Bites his arm off, and then a
instantly.
different shark just happens to land
on
on
top of
him,
it.
breaking him
By the
into
way,
it.
a lot of deaths in this shark tornado are because of just sharks falling and landing on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're just being tossed, but there's some deaths too that like are weird. Like sometimes people get their arm ripped off, but then like that ship captain gets eaten by the shark, but he's just kind
Piece
of
by
exfoliated.
piece.
Yeah, he's just kind of his face is like a little bit exfoliated or
Yeah.
something. It's like
Well, it's like they're each because he's in the Sharknado.
Yeah.
It's like each pass of a shark, they just get the next layer of epidermis.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
I
like
know we're going to get to the final.
Oh, yeah, we have to
We're
talk
going
about
to
that.
get to it. But before we do, can I just
Yeah.
mention the worst line of dialogue? And
Sure.
the one that I mean they think is
great.
going to be really funny and campy, but is just terrible, is the Australian guy, the aforementioned Australian guy. Once Tara Reid's boyfriend dies and they're basically standing knee-deep in bloody water, he looks down at the water and says, "Looks like that time of the month."
no.
Oh, that was my favorite line too, because
Yeah.
that
I
was like
missed
that.
that.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
a totally
Yeah,
80-yard
that's amazing.
line
Yeah.
in a bloody red room. By the way, they couldn't find the shark in the 8x12 room, which was kind of a gimme.
Do you mean the 8x12 room because there's 8x12s of Tara Reid up on the wall?
Yeah, the 8x, yeah. She
That's
makes
where
her
they put all
headshots.
their 8x12s.
She makes her headshots slightly bigger so they stick out in a
that's
casting
smart.
director's pile.
You have to these days.
Yeah.
Oh, you're telling me.
So the director here, I'm looking at his Twitter page, and he says that he tried to make this movie in the vein of early Peter Jackson. And
Meet the Feebles and stuff.
I guess early Peter Jackson, early Sam Raimi. And he talks a little bit about John Hurd, and I want to kind of get into John Hurd's death.
Oh yeah,
which is
we haven't even talked about it. He's the most famous guy in this whole thing.
Yes, clearly didn't want to be there for that much, and his character I thought died very early. And he writes here, the director, he says he had to kill John Hurd because story-wise, it wasn't possible to keep him around for the rest of the movie.
They couldn't afford him for more than like one day.
But here's what's weird about the final sort of the people who are left at the end. It's these heroes that we know, Ian Ziering, Nova.
Nova's technically not left at the end.
No.
Well, but I'm saying you're right. But a part of the team that's at this supply store or whatever, who's going to go to the final battle to the shark tornado, is like Nova, Ian Ziering, Tara Reid.
The daughter,
Claudia. The son. And then just 2 random guys from the flight school.
Yeah.
It's so strange that they don't just give us our final team at the end.
Right, because I think they definitely wanted some deaths, but they couldn't kill off any of the people that we care so much about.
Well, they try. I mean,
well, the Australian guy got killed.
Even to introduce the son that late in the movie,
it's a little bizarre. Is that
So
Ian Ziering's
strange.
son? Have we figured it out?
It is not Ian Ziering's son, but I just had a thought. The bombs they put in the Sharknadoes would arguably kill a lot of people as well, right? Because
Oh yeah,
because
It's an explosion.
and then
But
it was
then-
probably where they was touching down on the ground.
Yeah.
What? No, but I mean, I'm sure they would kill people, but
Maybe it was worth it?
Yeah,
I mean,
all
so
those
now
sharks are now. All those sharks then fell onto people. I'm sure.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
killed. They may have killed more people. Like, why not? What's the harm? in
Just
letting
let the
this-
Sharknado pass.
Exactly. Sharknado's
What
gonna
are we
run out.
talking about? The Sharknado is like scooping up people.
But it
into
eventually
towns.
ends. It eventually ends, right? All tornadoes end. They don't go on forever.
Well, there were 3 Sharknadoes in Los Angeles.
Which, by the way, wouldn't it-
tornadoes die out?
Yeah, that's true. I think,
I mean, I
just
know-
weather conditions
How,
change.
but June, but you know a little bit about tornadoes. How do they die?
June, can you
Yeah.
tell us?
This is one of the things I don't know about.
By the way,
tornadoes.
this leads me to believe that prologue had something to do with it. Wouldn't it be marine life NATO? Like, wouldn't it be
Well, that
every
was the
kind
other
of
thing, is
fish
it would
and
scoop up
kelp
everything.
and
That's why it's
that's
so
why I think
weird
it's
that
the
this-
beginning. Like, they had all those sharks there. The tornado originated there. Those sharks became
But then
the
how did
Sharknado.
it split into
Well,
3? There's 3
That I don't know.
Oh,
Sharknadoes.
guys, this is actually very bad news for how tornadoes end. When it starts raining, it gets cold, and tornadoes end. So, but this movie then posits it's raining the entire
Yeah,
time.
it's raining. Yeah,
I
what's-
mean,
what's
somebody
happening
needed
with
to
this?
do more research. Thunder. I'm looking at you, Thunder Levin.
Oh my God! Could you
I think the
believe?
writer's responsible.
Could you
not the
believe the
director.
destruction of Beverly Hills? I mean, all those great places.
The Hotel
Rodeo Drive.
Roosevelt.
Prada and Family Mart, everyone.
Man's Chinese Theater.
But Family Mart, that was in the middle of the
Yeah, I
Beverly
didn't see
Hills.
that one.
It was just
It was
like
first a shot of Rodeo Drive, and then it was a shot of Family Mart.
just hey, like what is even? I don't even know what Family
I
Mart
don't
is.
know.
It
Well,
was like,
speaking of random shots, April Richardson pointed this out on Instagram. In the news footage, they have a lower third saying Hurricane,
David.
Right.
Hurricane David, which are hurricanes named male names?
No,
or-
they're
Yeah.
always female.
No,
they were-
I think they changed it now.
Oh, they changed it? Okay.
Oh,
So,
really?
I think so. Because
but-
there was wasn't there like an Ivan
yeah.
a couple years ago?
Oh,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, you're right.
But
you're
they misspell hurricane.
what?
No.
It's hurricane in it. That's how little
my
people.
gosh.
That's how people are asleep at the
Hurricane.
switch in this
Holy
movie.
shit.
Yeah.
So John Hurt dies. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it did start to feel. I mean, I think this wasn't fully explored, but I think maybe something was initially set up in that first scene about this Sharknado being about sharks, but also about like the greed of these people, and the money also got lifted up into there. Like there was something very sinister
think
about
that
the
there's
tornado.
greed?
Do you think people?
No, what I'm saying was
something
I think it was
sinister about the
symbolic.
tornado?
Yes, because it wasn't just picking up marine life
Well, okay,
and
so wait,
anything on
Don't you
its
think
way.
the money
Right.
should have fallen down on top of Ian Ziering at the end?
Wait,
Would have been great.
can I
would've
ask you
been
a
amazing.
question? Do you think that
Happy
the
ending.
tornado just wanted the
Buy a
money?
new bar.
Do you think the
What I
tornado
think
wanted to
was-
accumulate money and sharks to become
that's
powerful?
This tornado is the villain.
Yeah.
The tornado needs
the
that money.
tornado wanted to be like the kingpin?
Wait a second. The ship captain worked for the tornado.
Oh, he was a tornado. That's why his
Yes.
whole voice was dubbed. He had a
Yes.
human coat on.
I love this.
And that's why when his skin all comes off, that's just him becoming the tornado.
Yes.
And that's why you didn't see a tornado. Oh, now it's making sense.
Now
there we
this
go.
movie makes sense.
Oh,
By the way, I found what she says when she's stabbing the shark. That's
Which
that's gets clomped onto the helicopter rail. She goes, "Die already! Why don't you die already?"
Good
I
stuff.
did like when he rescued his daughter. When they're driving in the car, she pulls out her small. Like a portable television, which is something that like I had when I was a child when they were like Walkmans. Like she should have an iPad or Galaxy Tab or something of the day, not an old TV with an antenna.
Don't you think that Thunder originally wrote the script for 2 older people? Like it felt very much so that she was almost the same age as her daughter Claudia.
Oh, well, we looked it up. Tara Reid's actually 37. And her son was established as 22. So Ian Ziering and she had sex at 15, I guess, which I guess is why they had so many problems.
Right.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, when
they were babies having babies.
Yeah.
Because I came into this movie in the middle, and so I had no context for any. I came in at the flight school closet.
Oh, well, that's very late.
late.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I came in at that point, so I didn't know anybody's relationships. So the moment when the son called Tara Reid mom, I was like, whoa. What is happening here? Is this for real? That blew my mind. And I felt like she just was a disaster.
Yeah. Well, I kept wondering, I kept looking at her saying, why she's worthless? Why is she getting paid? How can they justify paying her a salary? And then at the very end, which the end is great, the very last scene where Ian Ziering,
this is great.
He jumps into the shark's mouth with a chainsaw.
A shark is flying through the air at his daughter.
He has enough time to push his daughter aside, turn on his chainsaw, jump directly into its mouth, and then gets completely swallowed by the shark, which everyone thinks he's dead.
By the way,
in midair. This all happens in midair.
Anything you want to say about this movie? That sequence,
nullified.
Yeah, amazing.
Perfect filmmaking.
And what I think they should have actually done to make it just a little bit better is his daughter should have been deaf because no one in this movie can hear. He's like only 5 feet away. He's like, get out of here!
He's always the one, and because he's doing hero stuff in the movie of going move, shit, which if you watch movies like looking for that, like the hero in a movie is always telling people to move. He's because they want to establish that he's more aware than anyone else, and that he thinks of other people more than himself.
I think John McClane yells move a lot.
Yeah, because he's always thinking of others. But anyway, so Ian Ziering jumps inside this shark's mouth, then bursts out of the side of it with this chainsaw. That's already enough. He's covered in gore.
Wait, that's the scene that I wrote, is this happening in real time? Because the length of time that the chainsaw is, you hear it in the shark first.
Yeah. It should just be boom, he's out.
And then it
not
sticks
a thick
through.
membrane.
And then it takes so long
for him to
cut
actually
through the shark's skin.
This is rough.
They reverse on
guys.
They reverse on the family like 6 times. 6 times back and forth.
Why didn't they, like, to me this is a perfect like moment that they did in Anaconda. I want to be inside that shark's stomach. I want to see him in there. Like, you need
but they can't because that would ruin the surprise, which is he reaches back into the shark's stomach, pulls out Nova, who was eaten by the exact same shark.
And why was that shark all of a sudden? Because that shark has been in the air, airborne
in the air
for a long time.
Yes.
You would think that at least the human body would bring it down a little bit, like an extra.
But okay, so Ian Ziering is covered in gore. He's just saved the heroine of the movie. Tara Reid goes up to him, and first of all, it's Ian Ziering. That's bad.
Right.
He's covered in gross blood.
He's covered in next level gore, crazy, like gloopy gloppy blood gore.
She goes up to him and with a look of distaste I have never seen before in my life. She gives him the tiniest, quickest peck on the mouth. And I said, there is why she is getting her paycheck.
Well, sure, her character does one of the worst lines in the whole movie, and I didn't write it down exactly, but I'll give you the gist of it, which is they're driving by a school bus full of children, and of course
Driven by
Finn,
Cousin Oliver.
Yes. Oh, really? That's Cousin?
Yes, that's Cousin Oliver.
I just wrote down that he looks like a pedophile version of Penn Jillette.
So you mean he looks like Penn Jillette?
Wait a minute.
He's driving by a bus full of children. He's like, we got to help those children. She's like, no.
Yeah.
You help us.
This is your problem.
Yeah.
You help people.
Like, this is a busload of children, people.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I love his solution. I'm going to rappel down.
Yeah. That whole sequence.
The crazy thing about being eaten by a shark, in that sequence is like they don't chew at all. So if you're eaten, you just go
like fully
you just
digested.
go right into
you
the
go
stomach
straight
with all
into
the
the
into
tummy.
the stomach.
But sometimes you get the lazy shark is like
Chompa, chompa.
I'm
But
gonna
not
try
that-
a little bit
yeah.
of
It depends on if depends sharks. Okay, here's the deal. Sharks chew
you're
you
the
up.
scientist.
Wait, are you a
Say, this is what I know about sharks.
How much
Okay,
comparatively
I'm not
to
a shark.
June's-
I'm not a marine biologist.
Okay.
But I mean, compared to how much June knows about tornadoes,
I
how
probably
much
know
you-
as much about sharks.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right.
So sharks, as I understand it, when
we're already off track.
when somebody they're
This
gonna
is
eat
not
is
good.
should die, is bad or needs to die, they chomp a lot with their teeth.
Right.
But when they think I just want this person in my tum tum, and maybe I want to hang out with them later, they just go for the full throat swallow.
Right.
So you think that there's some sort of a thing where they're like, I'm gonna digest this guy like
Slowly.
like a different pocket, like that pocket that you put change in on
Or
your
like when a
jeans.
squirrel puts nuts in its cheek.
I found,
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
Like,
right.
for
I
later.
found when anyone is contemptuous of the situation, then a
That's
shark
the
will
attack.
eat them. Yeah, they
Because
will eat
here's
them.
what's
even
so
more
weird,
vehemently.
though. Ian Ziering could have, when that shark was like flying down at him out of the air, he could have literally just like walked 5 feet away
Yeah.
and been so safe.
The shark would
There's
have hit
no
the
way
ground
that
and
shark
died, or it would have chomped
died,
around a little
or
bit.
it would have flapped around.
You think it
for a
might have
while.
chomped around a little bit?
I loved when they're in the when
Chomp around a little bit here.
I love when they're in when fucking Dum Dum and Nova are in the helicopter and they're all in the old age home, and one of the old ladies goes, "Who is that up there?" And Ian
That's
Ziering
my
goes,
son.
"That's my son." And she goes, "You must be very proud." And he goes, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah. Good
I
stuff.
was like, what is this? Like, why would you advocate, like, yeah, my only son, fly a helicopter into a Sharknado?
Throwing bombs down at us.
Yeah.
with
You
a
fucking
terrible
assholes.
idea. I want to point out
How about when the shark lands in the pool?
Yeah.
And
the
his-
pool explodes?
By the way,
Everyone's out of the pool.
But the first two people jump in the pool.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yes. Well,
yeah,
A
to get
shark lands in the pool and they get in.
They go
I was
into it.
like, what?
They were freaking out.
But everyone's out, and what does he decide to do?
He-
Everyone's safe. Let's light them on fire
Yeah,
and
let's dump
destroy
the
their
gas in.
pool.
Let's pour gasoline into the pool. Like one tank.
Haven't they lived
That's
through
a
enough?
huge cleaning bill, by
One
the way,
tank.
for the old folks.
He
home.
throws matches in and
By
in
the way,
pool,
sharks couldn't live in chlorinated water. By the way,
B, that
a
shark
saltwater
right
pool.
there, that shark is now not a problem. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
Right.
in a,
he's in a pool.
It's in a pool.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I disagree because remember when they're in the house, they go, "There's a shark in the pool." They open the window and that shark flew out of the pool into the window.
I thought that was a different shark.
I thought so too. I thought that was a shark that was a part of.
I thought that was a shark
Sharknado.
just
Yeah.
By
the
the way,
Sharknado.
when they have that fight in the house, their house literally crumbles, like it was made out of like paper mache. It was like there was, even if it was a flood, bad flooding will not crumble a house.
They were bad house flippers.
So are we to understand that if you are eaten by a shark in that way, where you're just sort of swallowed whole and you land in the tummy, once you're in
Dude,
there, you just
the
die
tum-tum.
of the tum-tum. You just die
The
of starvation.
digestive acids also.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
would-
Pinocchio when he was in the belly of that whale. You can do fun stuff in there. There's things
There's
to be
good
had.
times to be had in there.
Clearly, there's enough room in that stomach for Ian Ziering, Nova, and
That
that
was the biggest
chainsaw,
shark.
and the fact to get it on.
Yeah,
put it through.
he was able to start a chainsaw
Which, by
in
the
a
way,
shark's tum-tum
why
with
start
a woman there.
Why start it before he was swallowed? That's what
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because
Question.
when you're implying that he's going to cut the shit out of the
Yeah.
shark, but instead he jumps in. You
Well,
don't.
what was
feel
interesting
the
is-
Well, I thought he was
it
gonna
almost
be-
seemed like he knew she was in there.
I thought he was going to do
How
a
did he not
Space Jam.
stab her
Yeah,
with the chainsaw
because
going
it was
in?
running. It was running.
Yes, it was running.
She should be totally
cut out.
decapitated.
He should be like, good news, I'm okay. Bad news,
I chopped
She
her in half.
was okay
Nova wasn't
until
there.
I got in there.
It would be amazing if his character was a magician and he chopped her in half and then pulled her out of the body totally put
That'd be
together.
pretty awesome.
But I thought he was going to do like a Space Jam, like a Michael Jordan, to jump up and go through the shark.
Yes,
Like, cut the shark in
and
half.
out the shark's
Oh.
butthole.
Yeah,
Well, he
that's
did.
what I wanted him to
He
do.
did do that. He did
Do
do
sharks
that
have
at the
buttholes?
He did do
Junior
that.
scientist.
From what I know,
He
yes.
did that thing when the shark was flying out of the sky at the airfield, where he just was like, "Rah!"
slammed it.
He
Yeah,
That was the
cut
best
it
thing in
half.
the movie.
Cut it in
my
half.
opinion.
By the
That
way,
was amazing.
sharks are there's no what I'm trying to say, physics.
There's no
in
weight to them?
Yeah, they're like
Yeah.
you can cut them in half. You can stab them with a pool cue. They can fly through windows.
Yeah.
They kind of hit you. They knock you over. There's like just the weight of the sharks are all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a
So
thought.
this wasn't realistic?
I don't think so. I mean, again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. in most, I would call this like a thriller movie, I guess, or horror movie. But in most movies like this, sometimes like the people who get killed are bad in some way, misbehaving in some way. Like Piranha, a movie that I was in, some people who get killed, they're asking for it.
Well, that's why I say the people who are contemptuous of the situation, because you notice anyone who goes, "Shut up, this isn't happening," immediately will get eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. So, but I guess I just wanted to see some more bad behavior before we saw some people get killed, because that surfer didn't deserve to die.
Oh, but that boyfriend did. He was a real piece of shit.
He was totally asking for it.
Because he said she's mine or whatever that was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, and John Hurd loses his life saving a dog.
Yeah.
That was his save the cat moment, but it was a save the dog moment.
Do you think that April and Finn ended up together at the end?
After that passionate kiss,
when she pulls away from that kiss, she's got blood on her, and she looks like, you fucking dick.
And
you just got
immediately
blood on me.
they yelled cut, and it's like, all right, get in there, wipe it off Tara, wipe it off Tara.
She looked so she
pissed.
could not show that she was so angry and was disgusted by what had just happened.
And what was it, the blood or Ian's earring?
do you think Tara Reid is upset that she's not, like, her downfall was not as harsh as Lindsay Lohan or Amanda Bynes? Like, I feel like she got out kind of early. Now she's just sort of like,
well, it was
like a regular
There was
person.
no
Yeah.
social media when she melted down. There wasn't the same, it wasn't the same kind of, like, part of the way that Lindsay and especially Amanda Bynes are melting down is, like, so present because of Twitter and all this other nonsense, and that just didn't exist. All you had was Tara Reid, like, drunk and her boob popping out.
Is that why you're not on Twitter?
Yeah, that's why I'm not on Twitter, so you can't document my downfall.
Tara Reid is up for the sequel. People are talking about the sequel today.
Yeah.
And she said, I am down for a Sharknado sequel.
If the sequel came out tomorrow, people would see it.
Okay.
I don't know about the day after
agree.
tomorrow.
This is what I'm going to say. People of SyFy, put us in the sequel.
Yes.
We
will all
want. We will.
Let's write it.
promote.
Let's write it.
We will work
We
on
will
it
take
in
8
whatever
hours
capacity.
and write it.
We will
We'll
take
do the whole thing.
we will
We
take
should do it. We should do it like we all write 5 pages. This is what Damon
Like
Lindelof.
Exquisite Corpse?
Oh my God,
Yes.
fun.
This is what we did with Rambo versus Rocky. I don't know if you ever read
Yes,
that.
I did. So Damon Lindelof posited this
Look
last
up Rambo
night.
versus Rocky, by the way.
We should get everybody together and write this movie.
Yes.
And they would make it, and it would be amazing.
We should make movies like this. I was watching this and I was like, fuck
Yeah.
it. This movie would be so much better
What if
if
you
it
guys
was
did-
all of us in
It
it.
would be way
You
better.
guys should do How Did This
that
Get
might-
Made films, have like a straight direct-to-DVD like thing where you guys make movies
Like a
just
production
like
company.
This.
that-
Yeah.
by the way, this
Not a
is the
bad
best.
idea.
This is the best idea we've ever had.
Come on, I
kind
have
of
big
love
ideas.
It. I really, really love it. What would the sequel? What would be the sequel? Would it be a prequel?
some other climate event.
Well, I mean, somebody talked to me last night and they said, what was it? It was I'm trying to think of different animals to come out.
Well,
But,
I was saying on Twitter that a Boston Terrier NATO would just be the cutest thing.
that's
of
a
all.
cute one. I thought of Moncano, which is a monkey volcano that shoots out monkeys that like to eat humans.
And they like to rip their dicks off.
Yeah.
How about a dino? How about a dino-cano? Where
I like that.
a volcano breaks open for the first time, and dinosaurs start popping, are being like shot out of it.
What about-
dinosaurs that have been living underground?
Oh, yeah, so they've
all
been
this
alive,
time.
Like
yeah.
the
Dinosaurs
tar
are
pit.
not
Immortal
extinct.
dinosaurs.
They are not extinct.
What are they living off of?
What?
What are they
Lava.
living off of?
I don't know. It's such a good question.
What,
Gold.
what about a batfoon? A bat typhoon.
I like that.
Yep. Yeah.
I will say that one thing that June said to me last night while watching this movie, and you turned to me so sincerely, and you just said, "This movie is really dark."
Did you mean it had a dark worldview?
Well, you know
Is
what
that
it
you're
was?
saying?
There were so many people being killed off in the first 5 minutes of the movie that
Right.
it just was a real...
Like, you
and
were upset
also-
by it.
Well, because there was no love between any of the characters in the movie.
Right.
There was no sort of like, oh, we want them to be back together. Or it was just, it posited a world that I don't want to live in.
Did everybody?
Sharknado or no?
Did everybody feel like everybody in the family hated the daughter?
Oh,
yeah, she had
that
no
daughter.
point.
She was.
And they didn't even wrap up her story.
No, they didn't do anything.
No.
Everybody gets a love interest but her. And that's her
She
bitch.
just gets
that's her
to
whole
bitch
thing.
about her dad in the
That's
grocery
her
store.
whole thing. She's like, you came to save Matt or whatever his name is. And like, she's just like a fucking.
She also had a weird.
dummy.
But
She
he
had
was
a weird
playing into
subplot.
that, though. I feel like he kind of created that monster because then he said to her, he's like, I came to get you first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
Your
fucked
your
up thing
daddy's
for
a little
dad
girl.
to say.
Yeah. Plus, there's a weird subplot where she's like, no, take this other freeway. This is the shortcut I use when I go with my friends to Hollywood. And he says, what are you doing in Hollywood? Hollywood, I guess, is just.
Well, that was sort of, they were definitely playing into that idea of like, wow, now that there's a disaster, we're really learning a lot of things about each other.
Yeah. I came to get you first, baby.
Oh,
So
man.
Daddy's little girl.
creepy.
Pet this for daddy.
So you guys recommend this movie, clearly.
Oh,
I mean,
clearly.
If
This
your
is
mom gets eaten by a shark, it's just you and me.
Well, thank you for listening to this very special, important edition of How Did This Get Made. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
How did this get made?